So I'm going to be opening up a UFS Mortal Kombat X Sub-Zero versus Scorpion 2-player turbo deck. Why? Because I can.
You live? Did you share it to any of the other pages, or you just lay on it?
Not yet.
Okay, I'll share it to you.
So we've already seen the Scorpion and the Sub-Zero, but there's Scorpion. He's gonna be pretty fun to build. And Sub-Zero, he looks really good, but I'm not quite certain there. We also got a Test Your Might and a Pit. So let's start off with the Sub-Zero deck. So Deep Freeze, 5 difficulty, 3 mid for 7, stun, which that's what Sub-Zero wants to do. Seals 3 of your opponent's foundations to increase its stun rating. Seems pretty good. Ice Clone. Seems like an alright attack. It's got a block effect on it, so that's always nice to see. Icy Slide. So a 1 low for 1, but that looks to me like it's probably going to be a pretty good kill card. Especially after you've stunned your opponent out for, everything they have. Ice Ball looks like an alright opener. 3 mid for 3. Pretty much forces a block, which, combines with Sub-Zero's Enhance. Ice Burst. So Ice Burst adds all the copies of the Ice Clone card to your momentum. So, seems like a pretty good way to get some extra momentum. Barrier of Frost. So, it's a perfect block. And it penalizes your opponent for blocking on the attack side. So that's pretty decent. And then he's got Frost Hammer. So more speed for your opponent's sealed foundations and more damage for your opponent's committed foundations. So another decent kill card. And I mean, the scary part about all the Sub-Zero attacks is that once he gets into the 3rd or 4th attack of the turn, your opponent's going to be committed out because everything has stun. So that's pretty decent. So he's got Resurrected Revenant. He seals his own character to pick up a foundation. So seems good if you really need a card to block with. Destruction of the Cyber Lin Kuei. So it looks like a similar to Generous Gambler, destroying your face downs for -2 speed and +2 damage. So you can either lower the damage of your opponent's attack to make it easier to block, or increase the damage of your attack because, hey, you've stunned everything they have. They're not blocking it. Freezing the City gives a damage bonus to your stun attack, and it trades itself, seals itself, for one of your opponent's foundations to be sealed as well. Quest for Vengeance, this actually looks really good. 0 diff foundation, so it's good spam, and then a 3 low block that forces your opponent to discard a card when you block with it. I like it, I like it. Left to Die. So it picks up a foundation after an attack is not blocked, so you can either pick up one of your foundations to use later when you're attacking, or if your opponent's attacking, you can pick up, a face-down foundation that has a block modifier on it. And then it readies itself. So that's pretty decent. So this commits a sealed foundation in your opponent's staging area. And you can commit any foundation of yours to give your stun attack +2 damage. Cryomancer's Descendant. So more hand attack for Sub-Zero. And after one of your foundations is flipped, unflip 2 foundations. I think there was a combo with that and Honky Tonk Woman. Mutual Respect. Seems pretty good if you don't need to modify your attack that much. Possessed by a Demon. Respawns, destroy one face down foundation. If you play a stun ability, both players lose 1 vitality. Your attack is +2 damage. And if you've already stunned your opponent out, it gives it another +2 damage, so +4 damage, potentially. And then the last card in the deck is Retreat to Arctica. So, before the damage step, if this attack has 3 or more keywords, reduce its damage to 0. There are a few ways to hand out keywords to attacks, so it's a possibility to use this on even attacks with less keywords, so that's good to see. But it is an enhance, so you have to kind of plan ahead for that. So Sub-Zero has a pretty interesting toolkit. I'm interested to see how the various Sub-Zero decks get built. I feel like he's going to be a little trickier to build and play, so that'll be interesting. So moving on to the Scorpion deck, we have From Hell is his, I guess, ultra rare equivalent attack. Desperation 4. Of course, Scorpion's all about desperation. If it's not blocked, you destroy one of your opponent's foundation, your choice. And they lose vitality equal to the printed control. So usually 5 or 6, or 4 if you want to blow up one of their really good foundations. Here's another desperation attack, which actually I think all of his attacks are desperation, so. He can pay life to increase the speed and damage. And he can pay a life to clear the attack. So that's pretty good. It kind of incentivizes them not blocking it. Takedown. If they don't block it, you basically get to pick up another attack. So, if they don't block it, you get to keep smacking them. It's pretty good. Doomblade. Your next attack gets damage bonus equal to the printed desperation rating. It's kind of a weird one because ideally you want to play the lower desperation ratings lower in the or later in the turn, with progressive difficulty and all that. But this one incentivizes you to drop, desperation 4 or 5 after this one. So that's an interesting one. Flame Aura. That's a really good block ability. So the attack itself is Desperation 4, and other than that, it's just a vanilla attack. But I think this card really shines as a block. Because as you're blocking, your opponent's losing life. And it is a pretty easy block to make. Then of course we've got Get Over here. It's a 3 diff attack as a base, and it has Desperation 1. Fury and Weapon and Charge are all 3 pretty good keywords. It can change the attack to high, and it gives your next attack Desperation 0. That seems like a really good way to round out a turn, especially if you play 3 or 4 attacks followed up by this and then your killer. Minion Grab. So it's a 4 diff throw. It lowers. If it's not blocked, it increases the damage and lowers the desperation rating of your next attack. And if it is blocked, your opponent loses 2 vitality. So, as a baseline, if it is blocked, your opponent loses more life than if it's not blocked. So that's pretty interesting. So his attacks are all desperation. I feel like he kind of plays the same kind of a game plan as Vicious or the other characters that just like to throw a million attacks at you in a single turn. So his foundations. So 2 static abilities. While it's ready, your desperation attacks get +1 damage, and while it's committed, your opponent's attacks get -1 damage. So ideally, you want to leave this ready throughout your turn and then committed during your opponent's turn. So debt to be paid, 0 difficulty, 5 control, so good spam. Playable while committed, flip it. Your opponent's next check to play a card gets -1. So that seems alright. Entrusted Protector. Commits to decrease the damage, or flips to give something -2 damage. Or it could do both. Conquering His Inner Demon. So if you discard it, you get to blow up one of their foundations. If you're at Desperation, you can lose a Vitality to ready it. So that's somewhat decent. There's not a limit on the number of times you can do that each turn. Well, I guess the limit would be your Vitality. Strict Mentor. Lose a Vitality to give an attack -1 speed, and that is playable while committed. So that also goes with his idea of playing a bunch of attacks, because you can freely commit some of his foundations and still use them. Toasty. More damage equal to its printed Desperation rating, playable while committed. Blood for Blood. So if it's stunned, you can destroy it to destroy one of their foundations. And you can lose 2 Vitality to drain your opponent if they block your attack. So, it seems alright. Then Hellspawn Spectre. So you can commit it, lose 2 life, and draw a card. And you can give a Desperation or a Fury attack plus 2 damage. Thirst for Retribution. You can flip it while committed. And it penalizes them for blocking. Or blows up one of their foundations. Their choice. Undying Rage. So it picks up a card from your discard pile. And if you're Scorpion, you can pitch a momentum to gain 2 Vitality. So it helps him stay at Desperation, but not too low. So that seems pretty good. All in all, I'm pretty excited for the set. I feel it's going to be really good. Definitely excited to see what comes out of the set as far as deck types and character builds. So I will catch y'all next time.